Hello everyone, this is Distant. I apologize for the silence from my channel. I've not uploaded anything for a while. I've been really busy. But this game is what I believe to be a 4v4v4v4, so 16 players in total, 4 teams of 4, that I was told that I should cast on right after this was played, which was on the 12th of November. It's now like... wow, it's actually the 24th of December now, so Christmas Eve, yay! But yeah, I've definitely not uploaded anything to my channel for a long time. I apologize for that. I've been super busy. I'm working on 2 different mods right now that are both pretty significant, and I've just not had any time to concentrate on casting, so I decided, hey, there's no one online right now, take a little time to cast a nice match. So we're waiting on players to spawn in, but while we're waiting on that, I'll talk about the 2 mods I'm working on. A few months ago, I uploaded a video. Oh, never mind. Here we are. Let's see how our team spawned here. Team 1, actually, looks like it's an 8v8. I was wrong earlier. So Team 1 is Zyru in the yellow opening bot first. He's next. There's also Amatarkus in the orange, also opening bot first. There's Cyberkill next to him in the red opening air first. There's Oilek1 in the side opening bot first. There's Bluetooth from Super Troopers in the crimson opening bot first. There's Librado Baba in the dark blue opening vehicle first. Killer Kiwi Juice from Super Troopers is in the Kiwi skin brown here, opening bot and vehicle. Neon is in the pink, bubblegum pink, opening bot first and then air. And I think that covers everyone on their team. Oh, I didn't introduce Amatarkus, did it? No, I did introduce Amatarkus, yeah. So it looks like, actually, let's look at our second factories, because Zyru went bot vehicle. And Amatarkus went bot vehicle. And Oilek went double bot. And we're seeing bot vehicle from Bluetooth too. So let's look at Team 2 now. Let's find Space Crash first. Here he is in the green. He opened bot first with a lot of fabs coming out of here. No offensive units on the field yet. So he's playing very greedy right there. Bill is in the white. He's opened double vehicle, starting with strikers instead of docks. Smurf is in the sky blue, opening bot then vehicle. The other light blue next to him is Blue Breaker, who's gone double bot then vehicle. We have another bot vehicle opening from Patronus in the lime green. Our tan colored player here is the Fluffy Bunny, who's opened triple vehicle. And Jurl is in the mint green. He's gone double bot. Last but not least, Anonymous is somewhere here. When I find him, oh, here he is, and it looks like he's gone bot air vehicle. So there's a couple less experienced players in here, mixed in with a lot of highly experienced players, and most of the experienced players have gone bot, and then either vehicle or air, sometimes double bot. The only experienced player who didn't open bot first, I think, was Bill. Bill, despite having bot in his name, ironically prefers to open without bots. He never builds bots unless the meta shifts very heavily in favor of bots for some reason. And so, if I recall correctly, this match was played after levelers could shoot air, but I might be wrong on that. I mean, after levelers got 140 range and slammers could no longer shoot air. On the other hand, this might instead be the patch where slammers can shoot air. So that definitely had an influence on the meta, even on maps like this, where air isn't super common. It definitely didn't hurt slammers. The meta on maps like this was already to go T2 bot as your first T2, and then occasionally some players would go T2 vehicles, like Bill. But on the other hand, after the patch which buffed leveler range up to 140, the meta shifted in favor of T2 vehicles. So we'll see if we see. It's hard to see if Slammers and Docks still shoot air because not many players are building air. Anonymous likes to build mines, and he's building a lot of mines. He sure is. Does Bluetooth see that? Bluetooth knows there's a Stitch here buildings. Like, he can see this. I honestly have to wonder about Anon's specific mine placement because this is perhaps the strangest front to be placing mines on. He really isn't exerting any outwards aggression, which is weird. He's a pretty experienced player, but he's played relatively passively, I feel, throughout this game. It looks like he has sent out a small force here versus LeBron Obama, but he's also losing his frontwards expansions because he's rushing T2 bots. The fact that he's rushing T2 bots suggests to me that this was probably not done after the leveler patch. So we'll continue to observe what happens throughout the rest of the game. I think Smurf had a small advantage versus Bluetooth on this front. I think Smurf shot first with his pelters, and I think that's been a really big factor when spawns are this close. Blue Breaker's getting up to T2 bots. Who else is moving towards T2? Looks like Ematok has just started T2 bots. And Jurl is just starting T2 bots. And so this suggests to me, okay, there's a vehicle opening from T2 vehicle opening from Space Crash. Kiwi's going bots. So I'm pretty sure Levelers still had 120 range when this game was played, just because of that. And so the meta at this point for metal-rich planets like this was pretty much spam open with 1 or 2 bot factories, spam vehicle factories, get a T2 bot factory, spam slammers, and push with your T1 vehicles and try to get a kill during that time. If you don't kill someone during that time and you don't die yourself, you build a T2 vehicle factory and you start spamming levelers then. But the reason you wanted to go T2 bot first is because if the enemy went T2 vehicles, you could still spam Blue Hawks and they couldn't do it, and you'd be able to kill them with Blue Hawks. And then you'd also, on the other hand, if they didn't go T2 vehicles, you could kill the enemy's commander with slammers. Like this, which Neon didn't quite get the kill. He doesn't have vehicles in front of his slammers. He rushed the slammers out really quickly, and so it looks like the Fluffy Bunny's not having a good day here. But on the other hand, it looks like Zyru's coming in to... oh no, Zyru's also coming in to kill the Fluffy Bunny. The Fluffy Bunny really isn't having a good time here. And it looks like this commander, if it doesn't die to this slammer, it will die to... No, it just dies. So it looks like Neon, Kiwi, and Zyru have a really nice front here now. They have this nice open area between them. But on the other hand, Bill, it looks like it's Awakened Bill who's actually opened T2 bot. So yeah, this is definitely before the leveler buff, because after the leveler buff, Bill of all players would definitely be opening T2 vehicles first. Space Crash has some levelers on the field. They're not getting much done. Looks like Space Crash he's not crashing his eco, but he doesn't have anything really except for... This is like his only really relevant thing left besides his commander, but I don't think he's gonna have either of them shortly. So put this in a picture-in-picture. We don't even really need to do that. You see how quickly slammers shred commanders. Let's open and close both of these. Anon has taken some really heavy losses here from, I believe, LeBron Obama. Meanwhile, looks like Bluetooth is still alive. He has a T2 bot factory. Smurf still also has a T2 bot factory, and he's continuing to push in on this front. I'm wondering what delayed Smurf so much. He must have moved to another front. He might have been fighting Neon, perhaps? That would make sense. Neon and Bluetooth are good friends. On the other hand, looks like this is another commander that's about to get wiped out. Zyru taking out Patronus. So, yeah, this this whole Neon Zyru Kiwi area is getting really stable for them. Also with LeBron Obama here too, they have a lot of room to themselves to navigate. And it looks like Bill and Smurf are gonna, and also to a lesser extent Bluebreaker, are gonna have to make sure that Team 1 isn't able to just take advantage of that gap. Okay. On the other hand, yeah, Bluetooth isn't doing so hot, neither is Anon. But Smurf can't focus on killing Bluetooth right now because that would leave him vulnerable to Zyru and Neon. On the other hand, what is going on there? Yeah, that's Slammers shooting... I don't know. I don't even know what's going on here anymore. I think I saw Slammers shooting air, so... Could it be the Slammers shooting air patch? Yep, I think so. Okay, Anon pushing into LeBron Obama, trying to get some revenge here. And, yeah, this appears to be a case of T2 bot first versus T2 vehicle first. So that isn't the only factor here, obviously. But yeah, the levelers aren't just completely destroying the Slammers enough to really turn the tide here. And it looks like LeBron Obama is going to lose his commander here. So Anon's finally going to carve out a space for his own. On the other side, he has Jurl with him, so that's a really open front. Cyberkill's over here, but Jurl's moving in to get rid of him. But now, Anon does have a front with Kiwi, but it's very far from his base right now. But on the other hand, his base is also extremely small. Let's look at the ecos here. Top eco right now belongs to Jurl at 393. Second place goes to Kiwi, who's actually spiking really heavily due to a reclaim, I believe. And he is at a very highly variable eco, but on average just a little below Jurl. Zyru has a really big army, but he's actually only 4th place. And somehow Anon is at 3rd place eco, but despite not really having much presence. Looks like he's coming in to wipe out Bluetooth, finally, now that he's free on the front with LeBron Obama. Looks like he isn't going to quite be able to do that yet. He's actually he ran out of gillies, so he's going to have to fall back. And looks like Bluetooth is going to go chase Anon, but now that's taken his army out of position for Smurf to come in, and Bluetooth is going to have to slowly spaghetti his units into position, and I think Smurf is in a far superior position in this fight, although he needs to take care not to get too close to the Infernos, because Bluetooth's entire army composition is, like, his entire vehicle composition was, like, almost all Inferno. But yeah, Smurf, they didn't quite get in range of Smurf's army, even though they got really close at times, and it looks like Bluetooth is going to lose his commander right here. Smurf is going to try to pull back, but he's going to take a couple losses. A lot of Slammers on the front line there lost. This is going to prompt Zyru to push in along with Neon. Bluebreaker is not in position to assist at the moment. So Bluebreaker is actually going to take some damage too as Neon redirects his aggression towards Bluebreaker's power plants. Bluebreaker also has his commander here. Does Neon see it? He does know it's there because he does have Skitters in his army, 3 of them. But he isn't going to be able to put... he could totally get... I don't know why he isn't going for the commander. He could get it. On the other hand, Smurf is going... Oh, Smurf's own commander is being targeted right now. He's actually moving it towards Neon's army in an attempt to escape from Zyru. He's now moving it closer to Zyru so he can get an uber cannon off, and he's going to survive just barely there. He's going to have to get his army in position to defend against Neon's army here that's coming in, and I think he's just going to be able to do it. He's actually building an energy storage to block some shots. That's hilarious. Building another one, using them as pseudo walls. Bluebreaker, meanwhile, his commander's still not dead. Neon's bringing in a new army, but he's kind of being indecisive on what base to attack. Looks like he's going to coordinate with Zyru against Smurf. Meanwhile, what's Anon up to? Anon is now fighting Oilek, which will free up Bluebreaker. I think Bluebreaker's just AFK. He's not, like, reacted to anything for a while. He's been in a position to attack and to lose his commander and also to attack people for a while, and he's not done anything, so I think he's AFK. Okay. Kiwi, what's he up to right now? He's at 468 eco. Meanwhile, Jirl's at 483. And finally, Cyberkill's commander goes down. Oilek really can't do anything about it. Jirl actually got the finishing blow, while on the other hand, Anon is aiming for the finishing blow via Blue Hawk on this commander here. So that is Oilek and Cyberkill down. So all the players left of this game are extremely experienced now. Anon, Jirl, and Smurf on Team 2, along with an AFK Bluebreaker. And then on Team 1, we have Neon, Zyru, and Kiwi. Oh, and apparently I forgot about Bill, whose base was completely ravaged, but he managed to get his commander on the long walk away from his base and into just empty land surrounded by teammates. Meanwhile, Neon is threatening Smurf's base. Oh, Smurf trying to get his commander as far as possible. Honestly, I think he needs to move his army. Yeah, exactly. Okay, he knows that too. He needs to engage the army somehow. Although he should take note of the composition of Kiwi's army having all Infernos at its very front. Very nice army control by Kiwi, having all his Infernos in front of his other units, because it's really allowed him to just completely outtrade Smurf, despite the presence of, despite Zyru's army splitting to attack Anon's army instead. Now, it looks like Smurf is going to lose his commander here, probably. He's trying to build walls in a desperate attempt to stay alive, but I don't think Anon is going to be able to rescue him. So yeah, Smurf is going to lose his commander there. So now it's just Anon, Jirl, and an AFK Bluebreaker, along with Bill, who's slowly recovering, facing off against Kiwi, Neon, and Zyru. Neon looks extremely sapped in terms of army counts. Looks like his eco is actually pretty low. He's only at 133. His production, though, is definitely in want of resources. He could use these stitches definitely to get some reclaim on this front, perhaps. Looks like Anon's pushing in with a small army against Zyru. I don't think it's going to get a lot done if Zyru reacts to it properly. Kiwi still has this force that I believe is the same force that killed... No, it's just a completely different force moving in. Bluebreaker's finally dead. Killed him. Let's go back, actually. Okay, he was, like, legitimately killed. And we should note, once again, he was completely AFK. Meanwhile, Bill's base was taking some damage during that time, but as I mentioned earlier, he's rebuilding in this empty land. He evacuated all his fabs with teleporters. And meanwhile, like, if we look at these ecos, Jirl is absolutely massive. He's at 595. Anon's kind of in second place. No, he's in third place at 421 stable eco. Kiwi's was at like 429 stable eco, it seems. And then Zyru's at 390 stable eco. Neon's eco is really bad for some reason. He has the fabbing power. He could take a lot of eco in this area, and he could reclaim stuff with his combat fabs too. He could have an eco, and I don't know why he's not pursuing that, because he has production, he has fabs. He doesn't have eco though, which is weird. And if were not for that, Neon would be really relevant right now. But as a result, he and Bill actually has a superior eco right now. And so they have actually a very similar amount of relevance in this game. Actually, Neon is slightly more relevant than Bill right now, because Neon has production and Bill doesn't. But on the other hand, Bill has eco, Neon doesn't. If Neon doesn't get eco, Bill is going to slowly catch up, probably, if he ever starts doing anything besides running. Did I hear a nuke? Yes, I did hear a nuke. Anon's building a nuke. He's built the launcher and he's working on the nuke. It's already 51% done. Jill has taken some damage, it seems. Kiwi's pushing in really aggressively against him. Are there any anti-nukes on the field? I don't see one in Kiwi's base. I don't see one in Neon's base. I don't see any in Zyru's base. So I actually think the best option right now, what Anon really needs to do, I think, is to get off a nuke on Kiwi's base. Actually, I don't know about, because he needs to get a nuke off on Kiwi's base and then also somehow 2 nukes, maybe? I don't know. Because Jurl is going to lose his base regardless, no matter what Anon gets done at this point, I think. If their team has any hope, I think it's probably taking out Kiwi. I think Team 1 definitely has the advantage here. Kiwi has the superior position over Jurl, and as we mentioned earlier, Jurl has had the highest eco for a while. He no longer does, because Kiwi surpassed him now. But on the other hand, he never had nearly as much production as Kiwi has. And then meanwhile, another guy who has a lot of production also is Neon, who has a lot of T2 factories, 4 of them specifically. But for some... Oh, wait, he suddenly has eco, and that probably has to do with the fact that he's... Is he reclaiming? I don't know. Yeah, he's reclaiming. And so now he has eco. He had production already. Now he has eco. And now Neon is super dangerous. So this is a 3-person team again, because we have Neon being relevant again. Zyru's been kind of relevant the whole time, and Kiwi is just super relevant. He got nuked, but I don't think that's even gonna stop. Oh, there's the bombers coming in, and I don't think they're gonna get it. Oh wow, look at that, 3% health. And unless Anon can like immediately snipe Kiwi, I don't think that it's going to change anything, because now Kiwi's changing his sense of aggro towards Anon, while Neon senses like new army against Jurl. But yeah, Team 2 is just basically Jurl and Anon, and neither of them have super relevant armies. And then of course there's Bill too, who also doesn't have a relevant army. While meanwhile, like every single player on Team 1 has a significant ground army to speak of. Now, one thing is, Zyru's army has not been in position to do aggressive things for a while. He's just been slowly working on this Ares and building an anti-nuke now. Smart move. But like a key issue here is that, yeah, Zyru has no power projection because his entire army is just sitting in his base. This is a lot of metal that could be used to just completely wipe out. Like, this is bigger. This army here is probably bigger than the entire combined army of all of Team 2. If this army were suddenly in position for some reason, like if it was just suddenly in Anon's base, or suddenly in the middle of these 3 bases even, Team 2 wouldn't be able to deal with it. But on the other hand, it's just sitting in Zyru's base. I guess I might have overestimated the composition of it a little, but in short, like this is a big army. It's big enough to kill Anon for sure. It's big enough to kill Jurl too, I think, at this point. Like, maybe not alone, but combined with the constant pressure being exerted from Neon and Kiwi, like, that army could just kill the rest of the players. Ooh. Nuke is coming, and it's gonna get killed by the anti-nuke! Anon got a little too ambitious with that. And okay, yeah, the big army's pushing in now, and I do think this army is going to, in the end of the day, kill Team 2. What's Kiwi's commander doing right now? Oh, did Kiwi die? So his commander's over here. What killed his commander? It must have been horseflies, that's my guess, but... Anon's ping... Oh! What? Bill? Oh yeah, I forgot, he was building a unit cannon. He sent 4 slammers through, and there wasn't a single... Oh my god! That's insane! A 4 slammer snipe. Interesting. So, Bill managed to get that done. So now it's just Neon and Zyru. But Zyru has an 830 eco. He's not floating too much either. he'd been stockpiling a massive army that he's now streaming in like spaghetti. But he also has an Ares pretty much done. He has an anti-nuke defending his base. Neon, surprisingly enough, doesn't have an anti-nuke. It didn't rush the anti-nuke. He did not prioritize that, which is kind of interesting. But Neon is completely relevant again. He has 500 eco. Most of it's powered by Reclaim, but there's a lot of wreckage on the field. Look at all of this. Oh my god, and all of this wreckage is just like in perfect condition right now, because it's all at 100%, because these are units that were destroyed by Kiwi's commander death, not units that were destroyed in combat. So basically, there's a lot of metal in here. Well, it's just really funny, because you don't normally run into wreckage that looks this neat, because they're all facing the exact same at the exact same angle instead of facing at the exact same direction. So, unit cannon is still a thing, although there's a lot of umbrellas now. Nuke is still a thing. Defensive nuke, here we go. That was pretty much the best possible use of a nuke at this point. But it looks like Anon's still going to be in trouble. Why did Drill move his commander all the way there? That was actually not the safest place for Drill. On the other hand, Drill has an Ares now, so there are 2 Ares on the field, 1 for each team, and it's going to be a question of force projection at this point, because okay, so this Ares is heading in this direction with this army. I guess once it rendezvous with this army, they'll probably push together. And then, meanwhile, Drill's Ares is also moving in position to fight that, but it has no accompanying army to guard it. Neon is pushing in here. Bill's out of position. This is all Infernos. If Neon doesn't let it get in, if Neon kites, especially like Bill's gonna do 0 damage here. There are skitters here. They're gonna see the mines. Yeah, Bill's completely out of position here. Anon's attempting some kind of horsefly harass. I guess he's just going for eco. No clue. I guess he's scouting. I don't know. Maybe a last-minute desperation move because he doesn't really have much left up in terms of armies. Oh, Jill's got to push successfully into Zyru, sort of. Meanwhile, the Zyru Ares has rendezvoused with the army. Jill's Ares is just kind of sitting there in the middle of their bases. That's interesting. And it, of course, doesn't have an army to assist it. Anon's pinging this. He has vision from his orbital. You know, there's only like 3 Blue Hawks there. I think the best bet here is for Gerald to somehow to aim for the Blue Hawks. Hopefully, depending on if Zyru moves his Ares slightly out of position. Oh, he has actually. There's a Leveler army assisting here. There's also a couple other T2 vehicles coming in from Anon. Looks like Bill. Oh, Bill with the unit cannon. This is interesting. Bill relying how reliant is Bill on Reclaim? Looks like he's very reliant. He's gonna lose some of that Reclaim eco soon. And so it looks like the Battle of the Ares have begun. Yeah, it looks like the SXX, one of them is enraged, the other one's just kind of sitting there. Since there's no Blue Hawks anymore, the SXX can get free damage in. The Levelers are also enraged, they're also getting damage in. And Gerald should just move the Levelers back, but whatever. He's just going to lose a bunch of Levelers in the explosion. No, he didn't. That's weird. Yeah, so that Ares is gone. It looks like Zyru's pushing out with some smaller forces over here. It looks like Drill's going to be in position to guard against them. A big factor here is Anon has this orbital vision, and it's really giving Team 2 the ability to predict these pushes ahead of time. It's really starting to pay off for itself, I think. If you look at the last couple engagements, Team 2 has been completely on the defensive here. But they've been able to react before they take damage, and they've been able to. Normally, reactive defenses aren't super good in PA, but Team 2 has had a good enough warning ahead of time warning with their orbital vision that they've actually been able to react well and get superior trades because of it. Looks like Bill's moving in with a pretty beefy army here, and Gerald is also kind of in the same area, roughly. So that army, those two armies, if they could push in together, could have potential to cause a lot of damage. Gerald is pushing in with a significant force again, and for some reason it seems like Zyru doesn't have the production to consistently deal with. I think one thing is just asset allocation. Zyru and Neon don't have as much vision. Like, they have radar, yes, but... Ooh, that's a defensive nuke. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Yeah! We totally need mobile anti-nukes. Like... Yeah. These defensive nukes are, let's say, very good. Meanwhile, here's a unit cannon attempt. It's not gonna be too successful, I think. Yeah. Not a single... not a single pod landed. Neon's picking, hey, you have another area, Zyru. Okay, let's look at the ecos, though. Zyru's sitting at 885, Neon's at 560-ish stable, Anon's at around 620 stable, Jill's at 506, Bill's at 390. Team 2 has an advantage now, I guess, because Bill has managed to stabilize himself and rebuild, while of course Kiwi got sniped. So this could drag out for a while, I think, as the two teams have both kind of each reached a weird equilibrium, and it's especially with the presence of defensive nukes, like defensive. I mean, the game has devolved into defensive nukes and Ares. I've heard PA occasionally compared to World War I's tactics in space with futuristic robots, and this is when games start to turn kind of like that. Like, you don't have trenches directly, but defensive nukes, basically the equivalent of the trench is where you have an anti-nuke, and where your anti-nukes don't reach are the no man's land in between trenches, where theoretically defensive nukes can just reign. But on the other hand, the surface area of the front is also big enough that, like, they can't... Neither side has enough nukes yet to be able to cover multiple fronts. So I guess that's still a thing. Like, this army is gonna go in without getting hit by defensive nukes. This army has gotten in range too. And of course the defensive nuke is only, like, it's not being actively worked on by fabs. It's not being assisted. So looks like maybe Team 1 has actually given up on the concept of defensive nukes. That's weird. They're also working on an Atlas, which is just bizarre. But I guess that's just a kind of example of the desperation that these teams are going through. They're just trying to think of, like, new ways to kill the enemy that the enemy can't predict. But honestly, I think building an Atlas in this position is just a pure desperation move. I don't think it'll actually get anything done, especially versus, like, these large leveler masses and versus Ares. So yeah, fun fact, the Ares has twice as much health as the Atlas. Oh, that's a nuke. Is it defensive? This is a really bizarre nuke, I think. I think it... Oh, is it going for Anon's air? What? Is Anon going to lose his air to a nuke? No, he's not. Anon even moves just in case that's the case. Oh my god, yeah. For a second I thought Anon didn't have an anti-nuke. I was like, what? No, he has an anti-nuke. That was such a greedy nuke. I don't know what it... Honestly, like, Zyru should give up on the concept of offensive nukes, and he should be using his nukes entirely for defense at this point. There is no point in offensive nukes at this point with how big anti-nuke coverage is. So one of the few ways to breach defensive nuke setups are Ares, because it takes 3 nukes to kill an Ares. Well, more properly, it's more like 2.5 nukes, but nukes are quantized, not continuous, so can't really do 2.5 nukes. Anon's at 1,000. No, he's only at around 950 stable eco. But he pushed directly into the Atlas, which might not be the smartest way to go about this. He's going for the nuke, or he's going for the anti-nuke with horseflies! And he failed? Maybe? The horseflies are still alive? They're gonna... That was a bit of a fail right there with the horseflies. Oh my god, Anon also sent the nuke too, even though he failed to kill the anti-nuke. Oof. He's gonna lose the nuke. Along with all the air he lost. Unfortunate. Anon should have waited a little before he actually endeavored on the sending the nuke. He should have like waited for the confirmed kill before he did that. So it looks like Anon's gone almost entirely into air and nukes at this point. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. Horseflies are like the best anti-nuke killer, but also note how Zairu's repairing it now because he's getting paranoid. Yeah, like horseflies might come back, and yeah. Okay, another Atlas. Well, this one might. I think it's actually going to get stuff done because this army hasn't prioritized it at all. Oof. That was an effective Ares. I mean, effective Atlas. It's funny, Drill has managed to sink to the second lowest eco now. Look at Neon's economy. He's almost 800 metal in the deficit, which is insane. This means he actually has the second highest. I think he has the second highest or highest metal usage in the game, but his eco is the lowest. It's such a weird combination that we've consistently seen from Neon this game, just chronically short eco with good production. And this is probably part of, I think his Fabry spamming is partially responsible for it, maybe? Oof. If Bill realizes what's going on, he needs to push directly into it. He can't just skirt it and strafe off to the side. He needs to go directly into this if he has any chance of actually breaking this defensive structure before it's too late. And it looks like he's finally noticing. No, what is he doing? He needs to move directly into it. Well, I guess he also wants to move directly into this instead, but there's a Hulkins here. These are just pelters. Eh. Bill, you can see the Hulkins. You are in range to attack the Hulkins with pelters, yet you just continue. What is this? It's going to be hard to get back into position to attack the Hulkins later. I guess he wants to go directly for the base. Meanwhile, Anon's been causing some havoc with horseflies, but it doesn't look like he got the anti-nuke actually. Let's go back because I got distracted. Oh, Bill got the anti-nuke? Impressive. Looks like Bill and Anon were probably in voice comms during this game, and then also Neon and Bluetooth were, and maybe Kiwi were probably in a different voice comms channel. Gerald was also, and Smurf were also probably in voice comms with Bill and Anon. And it looks like Anon and Bill were they coordinated pretty well. Like the kill on Kiwi was nuke and then unit cannons, and then Bill just killed the anti-nuke, so now Anon can probably nuke. Where's the anti-nuke here, though? Oof, it just barely doesn't cover the... Ooh, wow. And was that a delete by Zyru deletes, which by chance hurts Neon's commander? Neon now starts a rag at the border of his base, which is actually like the least safe place to build it, because I mean before that, Bill and Jurl were already coming to attack that area, and I think Neon is just gonna lose his commander here, because it is Jurl's ping. He's like, hey, the commander's on the front line, why is it there? And yeah, it's dead. Wow, I'm really surprised that Bill managed to recover so well. The funny thing about players, like even good players, when they lose their base and they try to rebuild, they usually fail to rebuild, because it's funny, usually they wind up because usually the first thing they notice that they've lost is that they notice they've lost their eco. And so they start trying to rebuild their eco, and they put so much fabbing power into rebuilding their eco that they don't even realize when they've like restored their eco to like near normal capacity. But then as a result, they just keep on building eco, and oftentimes players, even experienced players who've rebuilt, don't have any actual production. On the other hand, Bill actually managed to get stable armies onto the field, to the extent that by the end of the game, he was tied with Jurl for basically the largest ground armies. And then he also had pretty good power projection with the unit cannon. He used it to pull off a couple of interesting snipes. And like he had an actual base, which doesn't happen a lot with people who've rebuilt. Wow, I really did think that Team 1 was going to win that until Kiwi got sniped, roughly. I think had Bill not recovered as quickly as he had, Team 1 would have just completely won that. I think the one really big mistake from Team 1, I think, is just, it's weird, like Neon and Zyru needed to swap their ecos. If Neon had Zyru's eco, and or alternately, if Zyru had Neon's production capacity, Team 1 would have done better too. I think losing Kiwi was a really big problem for them, because Zyru had eco, but he had good production, but he had much better eco. And then Neon had really good production, and then he just had no eco. And then Kiwi had a nice mix. He had a really solid production. He had a really solid eco. He also projected his power well. He was completely wrecking Jurl, because Jurl was I think Jurl had a pretty bad eco production misbalance too, I think. Or I want to say that Jurl's eco surpassed his production. Although I can't entirely back that up with numbers, I guess. Maybe it was just superior army control from Kiwi, I'm not sure, but either way, like Kiwi getting taken out is what changed the path of this game. But it wasn't even the nuke that really changed the path of the game. It was the nuke and then the 4 slammers from the unit cannon. Without both of those together, Kiwi would have lived, and he would have lost a big chunk of his base. But really, I think he had enough that he could have. He was still a pretty significant force here. Because look at this army. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed that game. To anyone who's managed to stick around for the entire 50-ish minutes that I've spent casting this game. But yeah, if you're still watching for some reason, I guess I'll continue the rant I had at the very start of this game about the mods I'm working on. I'm working on one mod called Reckoner, which will be a team game player skill evaluation system. It's not quite a player ranking system, but more just a kind of lobby balance system. And It's I didn't get nearly as much work on it done as I wanted to during while I had classes going on. But I have 2.5 weeks of winter break, and I'm going to be spending that working primarily on Reckoner. The other mod that I've spent a lot of time working on recently is a mod called Union, which is going to be the third faction for Planetary Annihilation. The mod's going to be slightly smaller than Legion, but overall, players should expect from Union something on a similar scale to Legion. And let's see that again. Look at that. Beautiful slammer snipe. And I think Anon was providing vision for that. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that advanced radar satellite boy. Because here's the funny thing, if this advanced radar satellite wasn't there, I don't think Bill Slammers would have had vision of the commander. Look at that guy. Yeah, earlier I was saying, Bill and Anon were coordinating? Yeah, they were coordinating. Yeah, Anon, Bill, Gerald, and Smurf were definitely in voice comms together. Smurf never has his mic on though, so he was listening only. And then Bluetooth, Killer Kiwi, and Neon were also in voice together. Zyrun and Matarkus probably were not in voice with anyone. But yeah, very interesting game. It definitely went on for a long time. But yeah. Anon was specifically the one who asked me to cast this game. I think Bill also wanted me to cast the game. And yeah, it's you don't normally see game like this. Started as an 8v8, but for the last half of the game, it was there were 6 or less players. I mean, the halfway point is... This is roughly the halfway point. There are only 6 players left. That's pretty insane. 6 out of 16. We can even go way further back than that when, okay, it looks like there's still 8 here. But yeah, and Bluebreaker doesn't even count here. He was AFK for a while, so the death of Smurf is when it goes down to 6 players effectively. That happens like 17 minutes into the game out of 39 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Orbital radar, like, it's kind of crazy, like, how much vision that stuff has. And a lot of players, like, normally, you see, when it comes to maps like this, the only experienced player who routinely builds Orbital is Anonymous. And, he definitely leverages it. He definitely leverages that vision. It's an investment, definitely, though, like, but he was able to leverage it long enough in this game for it to pay. It definitely paid off for itself. Like, the amount of intel he was able to gather with his orb, I didn't even really do a good job of focusing on what his team could see because of that orbital. But yeah, they had a lot of vision just because of this.